War-torn Syria, a hotspot for drugs. Syria, once a place with a rich history and lively culture, has been damaged by over 10 years of civil war. The fighting has left the country in ruins, its economy broken, and its people displaced. In the middle of this destruction, a dangerous industry has taken root: drug trafficking. Making and smuggling drugs, especially a drug called Captagon, have become a lifeline for the war-torn nation. This illegal trade grows in the chaos of war, taking advantage of the weak government and borders that are easy to cross. The Syrian government, weakened by years of fighting, hasn't been able to stop the growing drug trade. Sometimes it's even been accused of being involved, supposedly ignoring or even helping with the making and smuggling of drugs. The profitable drug trade has drawn in many groups, from armed fighters to criminal gangs, all wanting to profit from the misery of war. The center of Syria's drug production is in areas controlled by different groups, each fighting for control of this illegal market. Syria's location at the crossroads of major drug trafficking routes has made the drug trade even bigger. Because it's easy to reach markets in the Middle East, Europe, and other places, Syria has become a major center for making and sending out Captagon. This growing drug problem is a big threat not just to Syria, but to the whole region. The flood of Captagon and other drugs is causing addiction, crime, and instability, making the already terrible humanitarian crisis even worse. As the world deals with the Syrian conflict, it's important to address the growing drug trade, which could further destabilize the region and ruin any hope for peace and recovery. Captagon: the recipe, the factories, the money. Captagon, a very addictive stimulant drug, has become the most popular drug in Syria's illegal drug trade. Its simple chemical makeup makes it easy and cheap to produce, needing only chemicals that are easy to find. This has led to many secret labs popping up across the country, often hidden in plain sight in homes or abandoned buildings. The process of making Captagon, while simple, is very secret. Workers, often hired from poor communities, are made to promise not to tell anyone, working under the constant threat of violence. The finished product, usually in pill form, is stamped with different logos, often copying real medicine brands, to avoid being caught and to make it seem more valuable. The profits from making Captagon are huge, estimated to be billions of dollars every year. This illegal money fuels the conflict, giving money to armed groups and criminal organizations. It also leads to corruption, as officials are bribed to ignore the trade or even actively take part in it. The rise of Captagon production in Syria shows the terrible economics of war. In a country ruined by war, where normal jobs have been destroyed, the drug trade offers a bad way to survive for some and a profitable business for others. However, the harm this trade causes in terms of addiction, violence, and societal decay is huge. The faces of the trade, from drug lords to users. The Captagon trade in Syria is a complicated network of people, each with a specific job in moving the drug from secret labs to eager buyers across the region and beyond. At the top of this illegal pyramid are the drug lords, powerful people with connections to armed groups, corrupt officials, and international criminal networks. They control the production, money, and transportation of large shipments, often operating without fear of getting caught. Below them are the smugglers, who move the Captagon across borders, using different tricks, from hiding it in legal goods to taking advantage of weak border security. They operate in a secret world, relying on networks of informants, bribes, and violence to avoid being caught. The people who use Captagon are a diverse group, with different reasons for using it. In war zones, fighters use it to feel less afraid, be more alert, and stay awake longer. Civilians use it for its stimulating effects, to escape the harsh realities of war and poverty. However, it's very addictive and quickly traps users, leading to a cycle of dependence and social problems. The Captagon trade relies on taking advantage of vulnerable and desperate people. It's a clear reminder of the human cost of conflict, and the urgent need to fix the problems that allow such illegal industries to thrive. Syria under the influence, addiction, and a broken society. The spread of Captagon in Syria has caused a terrible wave of addiction, breaking apart families and communities already dealing with the trauma of war. The drug is very addictive and quickly traps users, causing many physical and psychological problems, including paranoia, hallucinations, and violent behavior. Hospitals and clinics, already struggling with many war injuries, are not ready to handle the growing number of addicts needing help. The effects of widespread Captagon addiction on society are serious. Families are torn apart as addiction leads to domestic violence, neglect, and crime. Young people, especially vulnerable to the drug, drop out of school, lose their jobs, and get trapped in a cycle of addiction and despair. Syrian society, already weakened by years of fighting, is further damaged by this drug epidemic. The Syrian government, weakened by years of war and dealing with many crises, hasn't been able to effectively respond to the growing drug problem. The lack of resources, along with widespread corruption, has made it hard to stop production, trafficking, and provide addiction treatment. The international community, focused on the political and humanitarian parts of the Syrian conflict, has also been slow to address the growing drug crisis. The situation in Syria is a serious warning of the terrible consequences of uncontrolled drug production and trafficking. It shows the urgent need for a coordinated global response to address this growing threat, not only to stop the flow of drugs but also to provide much-needed support for those affected by addiction and to rebuild broken communities.